Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tangle Time Arts. My name is Nana Heron, and I am a certified Zentangle teacher. And welcome back to our impromptu Advent Tangles series. We are on day 6. My apologies for being a little bit late with the filming and uploading of this one. I had a tiny little accident yesterday. I slipped on some black ice and so I've been kind of sidelined with a bit of an injury. But I'm back and we will take a look at a couple of tangles here. So let this just be a friendly reminder to if you live in an area that gets snow and ice, 'tis the season for black ice, so please be careful out there. All right, enough about me. I am going to take a look at some new to me tangles. And I thought we would pair, believe it or not, there's a festive tangle named Festive, and that's by Indrani Novello. So we're going to take a look at that one. And Festive is kind of a twin to CZT Debbie Raaen's Helter, well, a variation of Helter, the spiky version of it. So, to be fair, today we're looking at Festive, but in a day or two, let's take a look at Helter, because I believe Helter came out a couple of years ago and Festive is newer. But I came across Festive first and that caught my eye, so we're going to go ahead with that one. So Festive, and we're going to pair that with Sarah Harrison's Ellance, which it was inspired by the poppy flower, but to me, it's giving me holiday vibes. So we're going to pair those two together. All right, for this project, we will need our white tile, a black pen, a number 2 pencil, and a tortillon. So our basic supplies. And if you would like to add color, I do have a metallic gel pen. I'm using Uni-Ball today. And I do have some colored pencils. So your basic holiday colors and reds, greens, and then I might need a yellow or a white for burnishing purposes. So I just threw those in there. All right, let's get started. We are going to need our pencil. And we are going to go ahead and put in our 4 dots, one in each corner. And then I am going to lightly, very lightly, pencil in a line from dot to dot to dot to dot all the way around. I didn't leave too much space here, so it's about a pencil width of space all the way around. And then I'm going to take my black pen. Oh, one of my other pens wants to come with it. All right, we're going to take our black pen and we are going to start. Festive is reminds me of evergreen boughs. So we're going to start with our I would kind of call them stems. And I'm going to start with leaving a little space here where our dot is. I am going to draw a curved line. So you want to kind of come a little bit over halfway. And then we're going to aura that, take that up to the point there like that. Then I'm going to do the same thing coming down this way. And I'm going to place the stems in for all of these first. I'm going to go rotate around and do the opposite side. And then I'm going to do the other 2 corners. So there might be a little bit of overlap there. So a little bit of the hollabah technique coming in to play there. And it looks like my pen is a little bit on the low ink side. So we'll see how this goes. It might be okay for this evergreen because we want that to look a little bit feathery. All right, so I have something like that. So that's step one of festive is putting in your stem parts. And then because we're kind of making a border with it, but not in a circle, we just worked our way around. And then the next part is really interesting because it's all like a zigzag almost. But I guess this is where the similarity comes in to Helter with the spiky version. Um, but Festive is its own. So we just do the zigzag. I don't really call them zigzags actually. They're just angles, very sharp angles, up and down, up and down, up and down, all the way down this spine. And then we do the same thing on the other side. And you can work from the top down or from the bottom up. It doesn't matter. And for this, I am just literally going over my other stem, um, like that. So that's just one half of it. And then we do the other half over here. And I'm going to rotate around. So whether you want to start at the bottom and go up, um, or the top and go down, that's up to you. And like in this area, it's not going to matter that I just draw over it. But if you want to do hollow style, go right ahead and pick your pen up where you meet the other one and go over and continue drawing. Once you have the two done, then you can add little orbs. So you have little berries here. And then it's up to you whether you want to make them red, which is what I'm going to do, or I don't know, like a, a violet blue color would be nice too, like for juniper berries. Um, so that's an option that you might want to think about. So I'm going to go over to the flip side and do this one before I do these two. So let's just go here. So if you place your needles close together, the angles, it is kind of zigzaggy. Um, but like with my first one, I have a little bit of space between them. So then it would be less zigzaggy. You can add a little bit of curve to your needles, or they can be straight. That's where your individuality comes in, your creativity. And then again with the berries. And I like to do groups of threes. I don't know why. It's just the way I do them. I'm gonna ink that in right there. All right. So then we can pick either of these to work with. Um, Just go with this closest one here. Again, the zigzags. A little bit of the hollow boss style, drawing behind. Then coming up over here. Maybe just adding something a little bit behind there. And we get a little bit lost in this one, but that's okay. Just doing my best to do the hollow boss style, but when you get to these points, it doesn't really matter so much. Out. And we have our little berries. And then we just have one more area to fill in. And some more little berries. So we have something that looks like this, and I'm going to be coloring mine in. I guess I could have also had I will add a brown colored pencil as well now that I'm thinking about it. But first, let us add something in the center here. So I was thinking like a flower type of thing. But I don't want to do the same tangles as we did last year, or I'm trying to avoid that. So there was this cute tangle Ellance. Um, Again, it's based on the poppy, but it kind of is giving me holiday vibes. So we're going to go with that one in the center. And we're just starting with a little square. And that's almost the size of my pen cap, just a little bit outside the corners there. And Ellance is interesting because it does this kind of almost ruffly type of motion here with the curves. So we're going to do a curve, but then we're going to start curving over to this corner here. So add another curve and a curve. You can add as many as you want. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to rotate and I'm going to do the same thing for each corner. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going from this corner on the left of the little square over to the right. So first we go up and then curve a little to the right and more to the right, like that. We have one left. It's a little bump up, to the right, to the right, to the right, and to the right. And then once you have all of those, one for each corner, then you are going to add more bumps or ruffles, whatever you would like to call them, back down to the originals. So let's just pick one. I'm picking the one in the upper left here, and we'll add a bump to, so it's only going to have three. So you could have three or four, just depending on how far you need to go. Like that. So I don't know about you, but this kind of reminds me a little bit of holly, maybe a little bit of a poinsettia, the leaves do, in this particular setting. And then from here, we are going to add, I would call them like the veins of a leaf. From each point, you're going to go to the right-hand corner of the square. So the upper right-hand corner. I'm using a curve. You could do a straight line if you would like, but I like curves when I can do them. Like that. So we're doing that for each one, from each point here to that corner. We're back where we started. So to me, it reminds me of holly or a poinsettia leaf almost. And then you can add a little interest in here, for example, with a diagonal line and maybe some curves like that. All right, time for some shading. Now, Festive isn't going to get any shading, but we could do a little bit of shading with the Ellance here, and I'm just going to kind of add some here. So I'm working on the inside first. Like that. And we could add some shading around our square if we'd like. We could do a little bit of shading in these areas where the leaf veins are coming together. And then we can go ahead and do some shading around it. Very light pressure. I think I will add just a touch of shading around my berries. like that. So take a look. Yeah, that's plenty. I'm going to take my tortillon and then start around the square and push this out in these center areas here. And then we have these areas on the inside a little bit. And then we can go and do our outside. That looks good. And then a little bit around the berries here. Just a little touch of shading because we're going to have a little bit of shine with the metallic or the glitter, whatever kind of pen you're using. All right, so now we can color. And I think I am going to pull out a brown to do the little stem parts. So I'm just adding a little bit of color here. Again, color is optional. And you don't have to, of course, use the same colors that I'm using. You can use whatever you want. Maybe instead of brown and green, you're using pink. Maybe it's a pink tree. I don't know. Get the brown in like that. And then I'm going with just green for the little pine needles. But like I said, you could use any color you want. It doesn't have to be green. I'm just really using pressure towards the spine here and then pushing it out. I mean, it's just a really short, quick motions there. Not too much. And if it's not 100% in the inked in area, that's okay with this type of a project, actually. Can have a little bit of overlap here. Just really looking for that effect of the pine needles kind of overlapping there. That gives it a much more natural look. So I'm not concerned about the overlap or staying 100% in the lines. See, it looks very festive, very cool. I like it. This is very quick when you're doing something like this. So your color changes with the pressure because the pressure is right here at this point, and then almost no pressure at the end. Add a couple, and you can just add a couple of, for example, I could add pine needle here just with the pencil. Um, so no problems there. Just want them to look kind of light and feathery. All right, so we have that done. And then before I put in my red gel pen, I'm going to ink in, or I'm sorry, color in this area here. And I do have the red pencil. I'm going to make this red here. Just because it does remind me a little bit of poinsettia. I'm just running a little bit of red along the edge here, but just along those original ruffled edges that we had. I think I would like the center to be kind of yellow, kind of just representing the center of the flower. So nothing special, just yellow, like that. And then I'm going to go ahead with the green and just ink in actually every other one. Leaving the red on the edge. So again, every other one. Like that. And I'm going to go back in and add a little pressure. I just wanted to make sure that I had them all sorted out before I start adding my pressure. like that. And that looks really cool. And then I'm going to go in with the yellow green and then color in the remaining ones. You can leave them white if you want, because I think it actually looks pretty cool. But I'm going to go ahead with the yellow green and just pop that in. So I have something that looks like that, which is really cute too. I love the contrast between these the evergreen and these kind of very angular leaves here. And all I have left to do is to add color to my little berries, which I am going to go with a little bit of the reddish metallic color here. But I think it would look great as juniper berries too if you have like a violet blue color. Um, that would be interesting too. All right, so this is our little project for a day 6. We can put our information on the back, which I kind of pre-filled because it's a lot. We have our 2025 Impromptu Advent Tangles Day 6. I'm gonna put my name on there. Put the date, which is a little redundant, but that's okay. And we had our featured tango, which is Festive by Indrani Novello. And like I said, it's kind of it is a twin with Helter by Debbie Raaen, CZT. So we'll take a look at that one in a couple of days, just to be fair and just to see how similar they are or not. And yes, it's entirely possible for two people to come up with something that looks very, very similar. It happens. But I think they're different enough in the way they were created to be able to feature both. So I hope no one's feelings are hurt by that. We can enjoy both. And we also had Ellance in the center by Sarah Harrison, which was inspired by the poppy, but we kind of turned into a holiday type of either holly or almost like a poinsettia plant, just something with a holiday vibe. All right, so this was our quick little project today, kind of different from what we've done, but festive and more I don't know. I like working with the botanical types of tangles. I'm very fond of that. All right, I will see you soon for our 7th project. See what you can do with this one. And tell me what colors you used because there's so many options. And just have fun with it. And just another reminder, be careful out there, especially if you go out at night, because that black ice just hides. You just can't see it. So be careful, be safe, and I'll see you soon. I love you guys. Bye.